Hey, I'm Agent and I turn odd ideas to life. And today I'm going to make... Yes, this model is for an exhibition about protecting endangered animals in Iran, organized by my painting teacher. This time I've decided to bring the Caspian Seal, Iran's very own seal, to life. Like always, I'm using nickel clays, and since my magic powers of editing are a bit low, I have to spray the clay over the surface by hand. I'm using some stone to give it some rocky texture. Now with a few dots of clay, I'm making these things, and honestly, I have no idea what these are called, which make it look way more real. I mean, our rock. After it's baked, it's time to make the base of a seal, basically the sea floor. I start with a 5mm MDF piece and cover the whole surface with sandy texture clay. I spray a bit of isopropyl alcohol and use my finger to shape the sea floor that were created by waves. Bits of isopropyl alcohol, some sand, stone, more isopropyl alcohol, a few more stones, and finally a little fuzz as some seaweed. To paint it, I mix a little red, yellow, a dot of black, and some white with thinner, making a watery creamy color, and start painting. Then with a dry brush, I go back and add a few highlights. Just look at it. Wow! Honestly, I think it's turned out amazing. For the rock, I'm going to use a variety of colors. I start with a bit of light brown, brushing it randomly, then I fill in the spots I missed and cover some areas with yellow or green or even blue. Finally, I add highlights with a dry brush, and again I use fuzz to add a bit of seaweed. Just pay attention. For sticking it, I use isopropyl alcohol and PVC glue on the rock's surface. And to finish it, I paint the little clay dots I added earlier. One of the reasons these animals are endangered is the lack of a clean, healthy environment. Since this animal is endangered, I'm trying to make a few trash bags, using a piece of trash bag and fill it with whatever I have. And then I seal the top with super glue and trim the extra parts. That's how I get it ready. Oops! Now with a small piece of clay, I spread it and cut it to make something that looks like a plastic cup left in nature. After placing everything, I cover the edges of the MDF board with double-sided tape and trim the excess. Then I take a 3mm plexiglass sheet and cut it to fit my MDF size. I peel off the tape backing and place the plexiglass pieces one by one. Finally, I seal the corners with hot glue to make it watertight. Guess what? Now it's time to pour the resin. Using a bit of blue alcohol ink and a smaller amount of green, I try to get a resin color that looks like the ocean. As I was pouring the resin, I was talking to myself and say, "Hey dude, 1 kilogram of resin definitely isn't enough." It was 3 AM and I had to finish everything by morning. I didn't have much time to get more resin. Still, I promise, even if the resin is a bit short, the final result will look amazing. Here I try to create waves on the water using clear silicone glue. Pay attention, this step needs patience. a bit of glue, some isopropyl alcohol, and texturing to get the best result, especially around the object sticking out of the water. Finally, I use a white dry brush to paint all the highlights. Next up, it's time to make the seal. I start by shaping the aluminum foil, then completely cover it with Nika's sculpting clay to reach the main and final form. While shaping the clay, I try to blend it a bit. As always, I use the end of a brush for smaller parts. Remember, you often don't need expensive tools, a small brush can do the job. Unfortunately, I realized a few scenes weren't saved, but it's not a big problem actually. For continuing the work, after placing the hands, tail and eyes, I work on the eyelids, areas around the eyes, and the seal's snout. Here I need to blend the clay using the right tool. Finally, I'm using a medium dotting tool to create the wool texture. And I finish it off with Nika's magic finish to remove any fingerprints. After spraying the primer and airbrushing it, I add some details using different shades of grey. And the only things left now are the eyes and whiskers, which I do like this. Don't forget like, comment and subscribe to my channel because you make me grow so I can create even cooler videos.